Okay, we have some people starting to trickle in. Great. Let me just give it maybe 10, 15 more seconds and allow everyone who's in the waiting room to come in. Okay. Well, hi guys. My name is Nathan. I am the product manager here at zipBoard, and today we have a nice Q&A webinar. So why don't we just get started? So to kick things off, this is going to be the quick agenda for today. So I'm just going to do a very quick company intro and describe the problem that we solve. There's going to be a bit of a demonstration on our latest updates. Then there's going to be a part where I describe, what's coming up on the roadmap, so what you can look forward to, and then lastly a Q&A session. But I think I also will have a small Q&A between section 2 and section 3. So what is zipBoard? So zipBoard is a collaborative review tool that facilitates an optimized reviewing experience. And so what that means is we give reviewers tools that they need to convey relevant feedback on their projects. We give project managers easy ways to organize that feedback and basically convert that into tasks for their team. And what makes zipBoard a bit unique and special is that we can work with a lot of different types of digital content. So we support revisions of URLs, images, PDFs, videos, and SCORM courses in the form of zip files. And not only that, but for different types of files, we also support like a different reviewing UI. And I'm going to go over 3 of those today. Well, the 3 biggest ones, or the 3 most dynamic ones, let's say. So yeah, zipBoard allows users to review digital content with both internal and external stakeholders. So this is really a platform for people that have an internal review team, but as well as potentially external SMEs or clients that want to look at the content that there is being produced and provide their feedback. So we give project managers the ability to add team members directly to the project, so internal, and the ability to enable external reviewers to access digital content without having to sign up to zipBoard. So that's the key. If your SMEs don't want to, sign up for a new program or anything, don't want to have to manage another account, they actually don't have to. You can provide them a custom share link, and with that, they're able to basically access the upload. And I'll go more in depth on that because we've also made some revisions to that in the demo. So just to kind of demonstrate the dynamism of zipBoard. So zipBoard is used across a wide range of companies in different industries, all the way from e-learning to web development to consulting and even construction development. So zipBoard has a quite robust capabilities as described before. And once we get into the demo, I'm sure you'll see why. So lastly, just a couple comments on the upsides of, why zipBoard would be beneficial for your organization. So you can access it from anywhere. This is a cloud product. You can upload content or sync with your DMS if you prefer to not have your uploads directly in our system, or if you just for a security standpoint. You can mark up your uploads with a variety of tools. You can assign the issues to your team just with a click of a button. You can share with internal and external stakeholders, and you can customize your review cycles to improve your collaboration. So that way you can really stay on track of the cycle of the different versions that you have in your review. So before we jump into the demo, I'm just going to pause here and say if anyone has any questions. I'll give it like 10 seconds because maybe people are typing. Nope. Okay. Then I will jump over into the demo. So this is what zipBoard looks like fresh out of the box. If you're new to the product, you we'll see that you don't have these projects here. I've created these projects in the past, but you would also have just this green create new project button here. So I'm going to start with that. So here you would go in, you create a project. So we can call this, webinar Q&A demo. And you can also give it a quick description. This part's not mandatory, but it's just, for your own records if you have similar titled projects. And what you find here is our total project view. And so the first thing, because zipBoard is a collaborative review tool that I'm going to show you before I get into anything, is how you can add collaborators to your project and maybe what that means. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a collaborator here. We have created a new UI such that if I want to add existing people to my team, I can just add them all in one batch in a simple and easy manner. So I can add these people to my project if I like. And so once I click the invite, because these guys are from my team and they already have a zipBoard account, they'll just automatically be inserted into the project. If they don't have a zipBoard account, they'd be sent an email that asks them to sign up. And then once they've signed up, they'd be inserted into your project. But I'm going to go ahead and click invite. And now you'll see the number of collaborators I have here is 3. And so with collaborators in this project, I can go ahead and show you what that means for the way that this project can get set up. So to start, I'm going to upload 3 files. So the first one is going to be a zip file, because I'm going to be demonstrating all 3 of these for you today. I'm also going to upload a video, and looks like the zip file came through first. And then I'm going to upload this video for you. And lastly, I'm going to upload a PDF. So that way we can have a look at what that, well, actually, let's do something with some text. So here we are, here's the video, here's the zip file, and here's the PDF. And so I think we're going to start off with the demo of the video, because I'm going to go from just from different angles. So you can launch the review either by clicking into the, oh, I got to refresh here, I think. That is bizarre. Yes, so you can launch the review by either clicking in and clicking review right here, or you can also simply just click that review button right away. The reason why I wanted to click in first is you could see now that I have some collaborators in this file model, I can actually assign this to them. So if I sign up to them, they'll get a notification that, hey, Nathan has assigned you this content, and it usually means that they should go in and perform a review. You can change the status. So once I've assigned it to people, I can flag this as in progress. I can provide it a due date. Right now, there are no phases. I'll show you that really quickly after we jump into this review. And then there's also tags. So if you have a lot of different uploads in the same phase, you can tag them to batch them a bit easier. So to start, here is the review. And this is a bit special because our video UI is unique. The other UIs will look fairly similar, but our video UI is specifically unique in the sense that there's this player here. So you can have this video play for you. And the way that this works is the moment that you trigger an annotation, the video will freeze right away. And then you can just go up and write your comment and be like, I don't know, move this. And once that's generated, you'll have a running timeline on the left or right hand side, as well as this little timestamp that appears. So you'll know exactly where your comments are. And that goes for all the annotations we have. And this allows for basic annotations. So these are just, the pointer that I just showcased, a pencil and a box. So these are our standard ones. Yes, there's a text annotation there, but it's not advised that we use it here. So I'm going to just say, make this bigger, for example. And so as you can see now, I can just go ahead and keep playing. And actually, we do have this comment function down here. So right here, where if I want to just add a comment without an annotation, I'm free to do that as well. And I could just say, rename this from Google to blah, whatever. And that's going to show up as a comment here. And so the great part about this is that, as you're going through this, when you're going through this as a feedback review, you can come and you can skip kind of directly to each time point to see what people were saying when. So this is a great way to essentially just jump to the parts where people have already made their annotations simply for videos. The next thing I'm going to showcase now is a little step up from that, and that would be our courses. So here's just a GOMO generic course, and this is for members in our e-learning users who want to mark up a course, for example. So here is a clean course, and what ends up happening here is that, again, this is more of a live annotation situation. So you can go and make your comments. I don't know, you could say too gray. And you can also go and say, for example, if this is a movable course, you can jump into this part and say, I don't know, I don't like this. And again, so the tools that we have here are actually a bit more dynamic. So we also do have our pencil tool is capable to highlight as well. I'm going to get a bit more in depth on that in the PDF annotation, because that's kind of where this tool shines. But you do have the ability, again, to just, have a pencil here and just draw whatever, la, 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 la. And so the cool part, again, so within a live annotation like this will allow us to skip back and forth too. So if I wanted to, I should be able to jump to different parts. This is, why is that not working? But if I were to jump contents back to the main menu, you have your content here. We do have more enhanced features on here. So you can actually change the content status from within the review. So that means if I wanted to approve, reject, or say this is something in progress, I totally can do that. And that should get reflected in the project. So there you see this content has now been flagged as approved. So lastly, I'm going to show you the PDF update and everything new that has come with that. And I think this one's the bit more of an exciting update. And I'll also jump into this other PDF because I think that is where I can show you the last update there. But basically, again, we have all of our standard features. We have our box, we have our arrow, we have our highlighter, pencil, etc. So our highlighter, we have two highlighter tools. This one is to cover text specific. So overdid it there. But let's say if you want to just highlight, for example, here, it'll cover the text and it's very easy. Just for example. And if you have our free highlighter tool, and so this works in tandem with something that we have here that's called the toggle disable comments. And what that means is that if you turn this on, any annotation you put will not have this text box with it anymore. So you can now, for example, do just an arrow, and it's not going to compel you to write anything about it. It's not going to make it a task either, but it's just going to allow that annotation to sit there. If you want to point attention to something, but you don't necessarily want to clutter the screen or you don't want to say anything about it. And so where this shines again is with our pencil annotation. And when we switch it over to highlight mode, because there was a couple comments from our users that, it's great that they can highlight text, but sometimes they want to highlight things that aren't text. And so if we've got this highlight mode going, it's a bit thicker as well. So it's easier to go over things. And now you can essentially just highlight anywhere, however you want. And without this comment function, Now it's just drawing attention to something. If you turn this off, now you do the same thing, your highlighter will come with a comment. So that's one very exciting update that we've had just for our PDF users who don't necessarily always want to add comments. The next interesting thing that we've added here is actually a text annotation. So this is, again, uniquely specific in terms of use case to your PDFs. And this just allows users to simply just write text into the PDF. So for example, if there was a signature box here, like sign your name, sign and fill, you could put in your name like John Doe. And you just simply have to click off and it'll stick. You can drag it around. You can, once you're in there, you can bold stuff. You can bold, italics, underline. You can change the size if you'd like. And we have this extended menu too. So default is Arial, but you can change it to any other font you choose. You can strike through and you can highlight. So that's our new text feature. We are actually working right now on being able to turn this text into a task. So you can actually just have this text without a comment box, I guess, become a task. And I'll kind of explain what that means once we get into the weeds of tasks. I'm going to jump back in. The other update we have is for stamps. So for stamps now, before if you click check mark, right now a check mark would appear in the middle and you'd have to drag it around to the appropriate place. Now it's as simple as just clicking. So once you have picked check mark, or if you have a signature like this one, perhaps, I'm just going to go check mark because it's a bit simpler. Once this is activated, it means anywhere I click will generate a check mark. And this is just a lot simpler for users who maybe they have to do a lot of check marks in a lot of different places, as opposed to having it generate in the middle and dragging it. Now you can just have it generate right there, and then you can resize it as needed. Lastly, the really cool update that I wanted to show you, I'm gonna have to use a different file for this, and I have that prepared on the side, is we actually have a filters update. And what that entails is that we can now filter based off of author and based off of source. So what that means is if you have a lot of external reviewers, again, people that are not part of your organization, but you've given them a share link, you can filter them out. And now you'll only see reviews generated from internal sources. In this case, I'm the only internal author here. And vice versa. So if you wanted to see only external sources, my comments from internal sources would disappear, and you would only see what other people have said about the document you're reviewing. Conversely, again, you can actually do it simply by single author. So if I wanted to only see on a person by person basis, because let's say I'm following up on the feedback of only one particular person, because let's say there's 15 reviewers and my job is just to check one of them, you can do that now. And it's very easy, simple. If you have to do multiple, you can batch it that way. It'll just display as many authors as there are here, and you can kind of select at your own discretion. So that is a very exciting new feature that we've added, because we've heard from follow-up reviewers that it's a bit difficult to find the specific comments that they're trying to review in the process. So jumping into the project, you can see that of all the comments I've made across these three documents, we have now turned these into tasks. And so what that means is that as a product or project manager, or any kind of manager really, you can go in, you can take a look at a task, you can see the screenshot of what the task is referring to, and you also can assign it to just anyone in your team. So again, that's why I put Dion and Karan in first, just to explicate that, now these are names that I can choose from to assign it to. I'm just going to assign this one to myself so I don't give them a notification. But here we can flag different statuses coming in to this particular task. So now that I've seen it, maybe I'm going to flag this as in progress. You could change the type if it's a bug, enhancement, feature, task, etc. You can change the priority. So critical means paramount. Low means not too important. We've added a due date function. So this is kind of the ideal date that you want this to be completed by. And then we have a completion date function, which says, maybe the due date is June 16th, right? Tomorrow. But the actual completion date might be June 22nd. And at least this way you can track the difference between the two dates. I do see I have a question, so I can pause and take that question. Can you demonstrate the stamp feature in PDFs? Can we add our own stamps? Can they become dynamic and add? Yeah, they can. So sure, I'm going to jump back in here and I can do that for you. So for the stamp feature that we've put in here, the one stamp is a signature. So this is the signatures which you can add. So you can add your own signature, and it's basically going to pull you through your internal documents, and you can add based on JPEGs or PNGs, and on images essentially. And once that is, you can also delete them if you have an extra signature that you don't need. But what that looks like is, now that I've added a signature here, let's say there's like a dotted line at the bottom here that they want me to sign. I can just click here and just resize my signature and put it right at the dotted line.
I just want to add here that you can also add stamps from the organization can add a stamp, which then can be added by the reviewers.
Yeah.
So you can have multiple stamps, let's say for different documents, you have different types of stamp. You can have multiple stamps for each organization, and then those can be added to any document.
Yeah. I hope that answers your question, but if not, feel free to follow up. I'm going to jump back in here now. And so actually, this is a good segue from what I was talking about for this John Doe comment. So that's one thing that's coming. Somebody who writes, as a text annotation instead of an annotation with text, we're actually making it such that this text annotation will become a task in here. So that way, again, if you want to just write directly, but you want to manage those, you're able to. But back into this task model. So yeah, we have a due date, completion date. You can do a gap analysis to see when things actually got completed versus when they're due. We have these other features. So the phase that they're in, we can duplicate this or copy the task into different projects in your organization if it's relevant to other projects. We have tags. So there's 7 tasks now, but maybe you have 100 tasks, and this is particular to one specific client, right? You could say, like, you could flag this as client 1. And so now when you are searching, you can search for tasks that are just related to client 1. And so it just makes it easier to batch certain tasks together. And lastly, down here, we have watchers. So what watchers are people in the organization that need to be notified when something changes here, but they're not responsible for the task. And generally this would be a project manager. So a project manager who, let's say, needs to know when this task status is going to, resolve fixed, or when it's getting QA verified, right? In those cases, maybe they're not responsible for doing the verification themselves, but they would want to know when it's done so they can move the project along, essentially, on their side. We have the ability as well to add descriptions and attachments. So if there's needs further context, you can do that directly in this ticket, as well as this nifty replies function allows us to mention people. So if in our organization, they don't have to be assigned to this ticket necessarily, but if I wanted to mention, let's say, one of my coworkers, and I said, please help out and provide context, I'm not going to hit add right now because otherwise it will actually trigger a notification for him. But if I hit add, it'll add it as a comment, and he'll get notified to come into this ticket and see what exactly is going on here. I'm going to get rid of that just to show you what exactly it does when you add a comment. So a reply. So just is a trailing long list of replies. But again, you can mention people as per necessary. And lastly, wow, we're running quite a lot longer than I thought. I'm going to show just phases for review cycles. So this would be, again, let's say like a beta testing phase. You could have an alpha testing phase. And again, these descriptions, status, completion date, all up to your discretion, but the name is absolutely required. And then you can have like a final. And this is generally what we see with some of our e-learning partners. And essentially that just means that you can have your uploads either move along through this cycle, if that means that within each phase someone different reviews it, or you can have a duplicate upload in this phase, because then you would have, the beta version and then the alpha version and the final version, and you can cross compare across all three essentially. The last thing I wanted to show is the share link. So I'm going to go ahead and go over what that means. So essentially, we've updated our share link UI such that now there's a password to access it, and an expiry date on the share links. You can send it either via email. So again, type in someone's email address, or you can copy it directly through the clipboard. But what I'm going to show you here is just the password function. So if I'm going to display the password, it should be, let me see, just show that for everyone. So call it I'll call the password for this one. I'm going to save that. And then I'm going to give it a expiry date of, let's say, tomorrow. So what that means is when I jump into the shared links area, I can manage my share links. So this one share link here, if I shared it with you, there'd be no password and there'd be no expiry date. But this one will have a password and an expiry date. So I'm going to go and copy this. Open an incognito window to show you the full experience. And essentially what's going to happen here is you're going to have to input your name. So I'm just going to put again, John Doe. Email is optional. It's only really if you wanted to provide that information for the team. Let's say if you're an SME and you want them to know that it's specifically you doing it. And now you have to enter the password. So if you do not enter the password, you will be unable to access this document. I'm just going to go ahead and enter the password, hit continue. And there you go. I have access to this document, and you can see all of the markups that I had just done prior. Now, when I'm coming in here, again, I am now a guest reviewer. So who I am is a bit different. So test, for example, and you'll see now my name here is John Doe because it's a private browser and it doesn't know who I am. And it says that I'm external. So again, on this filter side, I can look for only internal or external, and that's how that works. I think I'm running short on time, so I'm going to jump back in here and just go over up things on the roadmap that are to come. So the exciting updates that we have planned for the next, 3 to 6 months on a bigger horizon, but for some of these, they're actually coming much sooner in the next month or so, are integrations, improve reports, video recording, custom templates and statuses, and centralized version control. So for integrations, we're working on integrating with other DMSs, specifically SharePoint, potentially Procore, as well as we have some API documentation if you are using a specific DMS or any kind of software that you would like to integrate with zipBoard. So we are actually capable of doing custom integrations as well, but we also are in the process of setting some predefined integrations with commonly used software so that we can kind of boost the synergy there. On an improved reports time front, we're trying to add timelines and estimates versus estimates, and that would allow for our users to get a better sense of how long all of their tasks or how long all of their content revision is taken, essentially. Also, another thing that we're looking towards is drill down in reports. So, if you have something, right now we have pretty aggregate reports, X amount of tasks were created on this day, this month, etc. So we're going to try and also focus on drilling down so you can see exactly which tasks when in a manageable format. So that way you're not just looking at the report, you can actually analyze the report on a deeper scope. We have our video recording feature. So that was a feature that got removed and now it's coming back, and we've made some improvements to it such that now, when you're doing a review, you can turn on the recording feature and you can have your audio explaining your annotations as you go through them. And that's supposed to come in within the next couple of weeks by the end of the month. So that next we have templates and custom statuses. So we have custom statuses coming in as the kickoff to the templates, and that's also coming in close to the end of this month, where, in those task statuses that you saw, they were all predetermined. Now that won't be the case. You'll be able to add your own statuses and change your statuses at your discretion, whichever fits your organization's needs, as well as, certain templates that we are going to create and allow you to also create, such that, let's say you have similar statuses across certain types of projects, that template, or let's say similar review cycles across certain projects, that template will allow you to just not have to do all that rework every time. You just use that templated project, and the statuses and the phases and everything will already be there. Lastly, centralized version control. So we're working on having versions condensed together in Kanban cards. And we're working on allowing you to do side-by-side review from version to version. So that way people can see, alpha versus beta, these comments were made, were they actually changed, were they actually reflected in this new update? And if not, potentially why. And so that's something that's going to come in, I assume, roughly in the next 3 to 4 months. I know we're a bit over time, and I know this was a Q&A session. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to drop them now. And I'll just let the people type for the next 20 seconds-ish before. Okay. Well, if there are no questions, then I can, cap this off. So again, with zipBoard, we help simplify your review process. We're cloud-based. We work right out of the box, and it's easy to use, again, for all stakeholders, including internal users, as you saw, or external users via different share links, right? If you have any other questions, or you want to book a demo or something, please feel free to send an email to Bhavya. But all right, thank you so much, guys. I'll talk to you all next time. Bye.